Good morning, and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. And Spud McKenzie, thank you so much for your good morning. And with that, let's get into our daily mantra to honor God with our body. God, please guard our mind and our thoughts. God, help me to fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable, so I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect our ears and help us listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect my eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help my hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone, and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. God, please protect our reproductive organs as we honor you, God, with purity. God, please help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect our feet as we walk along the path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. And this morning is going to be a little bit different. Turn my fan off here. Because there was a ruling that came down yesterday regarding Carmelo Anthony. Good morning, Spud. And, or an amen. Thank you for that amen. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of sorts, but the ruling came down. And so I'm going to be playing some video for you guys, just recapping the ruling, right, for Carmelo Anthony, and really talking through what's going on and where we need to get to. I was going to cover some different topics, but today this is all, it's all going to be about this. So if this is not what you want to hear this morning, you can keep moving. But I really do think this is something that I need to cover. I need to cover it in a respectful way towards the families, both families, right? Because someone did lose their life in this situation. And now we have a young man who is going to lose his formative years behind bars. So we have to really be sensitive to both sides. But I want to just look at, I want to say, the feelings and emotions that are outside right now. So we're going to start with X. And this is a video of a man, and the caption reads, "A black man is threatening that white people are not safe in certain areas of Texas because he and other black people will retaliate violently over Carmelo Anthony's murder conviction." Now, when you are threatening a specific group of people and it's not right, and I know a lot of people are going to say, but it's not right. It isn't. I don't care who does it. It doesn't matter what color somebody's skin is. It's wrong. But I'm playing this because I need to capture the emotions that are actually happening right now in real time.
Collin County, Dallas, Texas, Arlington, Grand Prairie, Irvin, Dalworth, Plano, Denton, Keller. It ain't safe for none of you white folks to come out this weekend. I'm giving y'all a fair warning right now. And guess what? It's going to be a bunch of niggas outside that look like me. And we ain't out there with no pocket knives. We out there with these. I guarantee y'all going to pay for what that judge just did to Carmelo. If you don't believe me, bring y'all bold ass out this weekend and put on your Austin Matt Cow shirts and see what happened to you.
Now, that was a threat. Oh, and good morning. See, Ruby Bochum. Well, good morning and hello. That was a threat. That was not freedom of speech. So I just want people to know that. Now, you are free to put it out here on the airwaves, but that is still a threat towards a specific group of people. Now, here's another video that I came across. And this one is this is, I guess this gentleman here, this is his X account. It says, Frisco, family members of Carmelo Anthony assaulted me, which is verbal, right? And my crew threw water bottles at us, threatened us with violence, and started trying to put hands on us for simply asking them about their shirts. See how we left their tent when asked without stabbing them. It can be done. Why would you do something like that? Like, this is a sensitive issue. Like, on the one side, on the Metcalf family, they lost their son. Like, I don't care how anybody feels about it, a life was lost. Okay? And for you to say something like that it's extremely disrespectful, in my opinion, to the Metcalf family. Right? That's just, stop it. But these are the things that are happening outside, and we have to deal with all of this.
Free Carmelo. You guys support Carmelo? Yes? Yes? We're just here with press just to record and talk to you guys and see what's going on. Okay.
Now, as you see, they're like, we don't want to talk. At that moment, he should have just walked away. But he keeps engaging.
Okay. It's a free country. You're in public. You're in public. Okay. Okay. Well, you're in public. I'm just asking. Yeah.
Bitch, go!
Whoa.
Hey, move the camera, bro. They don't want to.
It's free speech. That's free speech.
Now, why would you stand there? You know you're inciting those feelings and emotions. They asked you to go. You could have kept talking as you were walking away. But you didn't. Like, okay, let's keep going.
Why are you throwing stuff at us? Yeah, why are you throwing stuff at us? What the hell is that? All right, well, they're throwing water bottles at us while we're recording. By the way, there's signs right here that says self-defense is not a crime. Carmelo Anthony should do no time. And there's also this sign right here says hands off. And this sign says, we stand with you. I believe it's about Carmelo as well. And you'll see a picture right here of Carmelo Anthony. These are pictures probably from his Instagram. Self-defense is not a crime. So that's basically with the tensions being high here. You can see, I mean, we're not here to support anybody, but we're already having things thrown at us. Well, we don't have to do that.
Angry and upset. It's family members over there.
Okay.
So you're agitated.
Oh, they're family members.
You're agitated.
Okay, cool. We'll come back. Yeah, you're good. All right, well, we don't have to go, but basically what you see here, the same problem you're going to see completely.
Now, where he's standing right now, everything he did, he could have did from right here. He could have. I'm glad that nobody was injured, right? But it's very interesting to see how we left their tent when asked without stabbing them. Why would you say something? That's just incitement, in my opinion. Like, what are you doing? Now, this video really is different. It's different. And let's just give this one a listen.
Like so many of you, I am so upset to hear about the ruling in the Carmelo Anthony trial in Texas. The young man was found guilty, and it hurts. I feel as though a knife has been driven right through my heart, and I don't know how I'm going to make it through the day, the week, the month, the rest of this year. I am so disgusted. I thought that we were past this. I was a child during the O.J. Simpson trial, and I remember when he was found not guilty because he acted in self-defense. O.J. Simpson was attacked by his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and Ron Goldman, and the jury came through and they said, no, this is an innocent man whose life was in jeopardy, and he defended himself, and that was that. And I thought that was the America that we were in right now, but apparently we're not. Apparently we are in America where no black man is safe. I don't know what to do. I think all we could do now is take it to the streets and protect our brothers and sisters.
Okay, now I'm going to stop it right there. All we can do is take it to the streets? Why are you trying to get black people to come outside? Huh? Why are you trying to get us to go outside? And Spud says none of that happened during the O.J. Simpson. Exactly. O.J. Simpson was acquitted. He was not found innocent. And basically, Johnny Cochran had O.J. Simpson put on the gloves that were apparently left behind at the scene of this crime. And he says, if the gloves do not fit, you must acquit. It was an acquittal. It was not an innocent verdict. And then he was sued civilly by the Goldman family and the Brown family. If memory serves me correctly, because I was an adult during that time. I remember the high-speed chase on television because I was living in California at the time. So yes, I'm very familiar with the O.J. Simpson case. But it's that part. We need to go onto the streets. No, we don't. Because this is what's happening. It's like wash, rinse, repeat. We're not going to repeat failure. Stop it. Something's wrong, and it needs to be fixed. This is a time for course correction. This is not a time for violence. Because when you make a bad decision in an emotional state, it usually has horrible long-term repercussions. We're not going outside. We're going to figure this out in the house. Now, if we want to have some Zoom calls or some, what is it called? Teams, Google Meet, and talk this through, or even in X Spaces and talk about this, fine. But what we're not doing is we're not going outside to cause havoc again. Because, again, it would be insanity. Because people have been called to go outside before. Has anything changed? Bueller? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, I pulled up on All Sides, and of course, they've got an article about Carmelo Anthony being found guilty of murder. He was sentenced to 35 years in prison, right? And he's now 19. He was found guilty on Tuesday, murdering fellow student Austin Metcalf, 17, at a track meet in 2025. Hello, Gracia. And the jury actually came to their conclusion very quickly. Now, I need people to take a step back. When you are a juror, You are asked to look at the evidence presented to you without feelings, without emotions, just the evidence. So whatever evidence was presented, that's what led them to their decision. Now, I'm not sure if, because I know some trials end differently, like where, let's say, the jury said, okay, we found him guilty, and the sentencing is like, okay, well, it's 35 years. Typically, sometimes a judge, the lawyers can convince the judges to have leniency. I don't know if they will in this case, but we can see they may appeal this case to go back to see if they can get a lesser sentence. Those things are still in play. But again, how we deal with this is how we come out on the other side. Now I'm going to play a recap from Fox News and just get their take on this.
We've seen some very notable trials here in North Texas, but we haven't seen very many trials, Sean, where the judge said, we're going to hold court on a Saturday, that we're going to do this 6 days a week. That was maybe unexpected or a surprise from a lot of people that Judge Roach said, no, we're going to do this on Saturday.
So here's a very interesting thing that I've learned about sort of how Collin County has decided to manage this case. And this is, I think, unusual, especially considering that there are many, many high-profile cases that are handled throughout this country and in North Texas that are not quite handled this way. But what I've learned just through my sources is that the entire courthouse was essentially shut down during the Carmelo Anthony trial. In other words, there were really no other jury trials. There were no other hearings. There was essentially very little court held, I guess maybe just emergency situations. And I think for that reason, because that was the decision that was made by the Collin County judges, that there had to be some measure of, we have to move this a little bit more quickly because we can't indefinitely shut down this courthouse, right? We're a gigantic county. There are many, many, court hearings that have to take place on any given day. And remember, the Collin County courthouse is a courthouse of general jurisdiction, which means that every court in the courthouse hears both criminal and civil cases. There are family law cases that are held there as well. And so you can't shut that down forever. And so I imagine that Judge Roach, in his decision to ask all of the other judges to comply with what he thought was going to be the safest way to manage a trial that created this amount of, sort of division within this community, he said, we can't just work 5 days. We have to work 6 days. We have to try to move this as quickly as possible. Everybody deserves a break. The jurors, most significantly, they need some time off to be able to process what they're hearing outside of just the evenings that they got to go home. But it was a tremendous shift in the way that business is done in Collin County. And so I do think
Let me interrupt
we're going to do that.
Let me interrupt you, Bree. Let me interrupt you. The verdict is in. It is 35 years. Is the sentence, not under passion. 35-year sentence for Carmelo Anthony, eligible for parole after serving half of that time. So,
wow.
There's the sentence.
I can assume, and I will basically say, in my opinion, where he says 35 years, not under passion. Because there are some instances where things happen in the heat of the moment. If it says not under passion, then they are basically saying, and again, my opinion, that it was not necessarily premeditated, but that there was motive for some reason. And I find that interesting because how do you strategically plan rain to be under a tent and know that that's this person that's going to walk over towards you? Right? There has to be some intention because he was approached. He didn't approach the other person. So I find that interesting that they say without passion. Right? So there was no, in the heat of the moment, so to speak, defense. Again, my opinion, I have not read through the actual summary.
What's your reaction?
There's the sentence. Wow. You know, again, I'm coming from a unique perspective. I was a prosecutor. I have prosecuted people that have killed people, that have harmed children, that have harmed babies. I have defended people that you know, have killed multiple people. I have a death penalty case that I'm a part of right now, and I will tell you. In my 17 years, I think these set of facts, you know, a jury coming to the conclusion that 35 years in prison is an appropriate sentence, is quite incredible. It's quite incredible. I'm slightly blown away. I will tell you that it's important that we always remember here in Texas that you have a range of punishment. The range of punishment for a murder conviction is anywhere from 5 years to 99 years or life. And regardless of the sentence that you receive, in the state of Texas, you are required to serve half of your sentence or 30 years, whichever is less. Mm-hmm. So in this particular instance, he's sentenced to 35 years. Before he becomes eligible for parole, he will have to serve half of that sentence. What is that, 16 and a half years, 17 and a half years?
Roughly 17 and a half. Before. Yeah. And that may very well have been the age of Austin Metcalf when this happened in 2025.
I think that
17.
I think you're right about that, Sean.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm actually surprised differently. I again felt like it was going to be longer. I just did, based on, I know Bill Worski was asking.
What he called for.
Yeah. He didn't give them a number. He didn't assign a number in his closing statements in the punishment phase, but he impressed on them that it should be lengthy, that it should be long, that we have to send a message of we're not going to tolerate senseless violence in our community. He talked to those jurors about them coming together as a community to do the right thing, to serve justice. He put on those jurors the idea that they were upholding the standard for the community. And so I thought it might be longer. I hope we get to hear from the jury foreman or one of the jurors at some point to know what they were thinking and what they went through in that moment. So I guess the word is now spreading to those outside of the courthouse.
It does look like people are looking somber. They're looking very, very astonished.
Those are some
Why are we
leaving
seeing
the courtroom? I have no idea who those people are. I don't believe they're any active part of what we're experiencing here. This could very well be some media. Again, you know, the media from everywhere in McKinney for this.
Yes. I mean, it hit obviously the national news. And I just want to make one comment about one of the things that jurors are instructed to do as it relates to assessing punishment. Obviously, it's a standard prosecution argument in punishment to say, you know, this is our community, you know, sort of don't stand for senseless violence or whatever it is in our community. This is where we live and all that. Send a message to, you know, this defendant and the community at large and all that kind of stuff. And that's a standard prosecution argument. But the other thing that a jury is also told is during those jury instructions, when they're being read to the jury, they are told that they cannot consider, they can understand the existence of parole law, but they cannot consider it as they contemplate an appropriate sentence. So in other words, you know, it's interesting to me that it's 35 years and that half of that, which is what he would be required to serve before he's eligible for parole, is about 17 and a half years. And that is likely the age, right, that Mr. Metcalf was when he passed away. I wonder whether or not that jury, even though they were instructed, they may have taken that into consideration.
I certainly think that's a possibility of the age piece. To me, it seems to be, I seem to recall he was that age, 17 for sure, and perhaps very close to 17 and a half. That's why we hope to hear from the jurors.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Send a message. Now, we had a case not even a week ago, maybe 2 weeks now, where a young man in South Carolina, his life was taken. He didn't steal anything. He was pursued from the store where he left, and he was unfortunately unalived from the back. He was unalived from the back, and that person claimed self-defense, and they got off. How do you shoot somebody in the back and claim self-defense? In most states, if that's happened and you pursue them, you are held liable. So even if in California, using it as an example, because that's where I live, if somebody came and robbed your house, or they're in your house, and you unalive them, okay. But if they leave your house and you unalive them and they're running away, you're liable because they were running away. Because at that point, they consider your life not in jeopardy. And it says, Angela Roy says, looks like he got away with cold-blooded murder, so everybody should get away with murder then. No, I'm definitely not saying that. I'm not sure which case you're referring to, if you're referring to the Metcalf case, if you're referring to the case in South Carolina. In South Carolina, it just makes no sense. That clearly, in my opinion, on its face, was not self-defense. And I'm like, what is going on? But again, how do we really deal with this going forward? Because we cannot stay angry. And we cannot stay on this hamster wheel of hatred. At a certain juncture, we're going to have very hard and difficult conversations of how we move forward in this country, because people should not live in fear of going outside of other humans. But see, this is what happens when you're not close to God. And people may not want to hear that right now. But see, the interesting part about this whole thing, nobody ever blames Satan for anything. You never blame the demonic forces at play. You just want to blame God. Even though you don't talk to God, you don't pray, you don't care about God. So if you don't care about God, then you're serving somebody. You only can have one master. Those are facts. I lost my sister. She was murdered in front of her children. And that person, when sentenced, got 15 years. What people don't know is that person changed lawyers twice. So by the time the trial came, he had already served half of that 15 years. We had to fight with the district attorney and the parole board to not parole this person so they wouldn't take anybody else's life. He's still in jail today. Yeah. So I know what it's like to be on the other side of this. And yeah, I pray every day. Because see, a bitter root can't grow. And that's what we don't need. We have to get past this point and to the other side. Now, there's a video that I wanted to play for you guys to kind of end our broadcast today.
For a reason, he really wants to show you this and tell you this. You see this video right here? I'm gonna play this video while I read this verse. You don't understand what I am doing now, but someday you will. All right, and now I'm gonna bring it back to the video. So you see that seed they put in the soil? That might be you right now. You're in the soil and you feel like you're in the dark. You feel like nothing's happening. It looks like it's over. You're looking up to God like, God, why is this happening to me? Why does it feel like you buried me? But no, God did not bury you. He planted you. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you, because watch this. Then the seed starts growing down, and you might be in this season right now where things are getting worse. But that's what God does, man. He takes you deeper before he takes you higher. Think about Joseph. God gave Joseph a dream, but then what happened next? Joseph gets thrown into a pit, then sold to Egypt, lied about, put into prison for something he didn't even do. And that's because God refines you in private before he reveals you in public. God's not looking for someone to bless. He's looking for someone to trust. And he doesn't just trust you with the blessings. He trusts you with the breaking. Before Jesus multiplied the bread, he broke it. Sometimes God has to break you before he blesses you. But then look at this. The seed starts growing up. It starts breaking out. This is the breakthrough right here. And this is what you've been praying for. This is what you've been waiting on God for. And you're like, God, when am I going to get to experience this right here? The breakthrough that I've been hoping and praying for. Well, the Bible says at just the right time, you will reap a harvest of blessing if you do not give up. And that's what will happen if you just keep going and you don't give up. You might be a seed right now. You might be planted in the soil and it might feel really dark right now. But God does some of his best work in the dark. Just look at the seed in the soil. Look at a baby in the womb. Look at Jesus in the tomb. Look at Joseph in the pit. Look at Daniel in the lion's den. God didn't create the sun until day 4. That means for the first 3 days of creation, he was working in complete darkness. That tells me that God works just as good in the dark as he does in the light. God doesn't need the light because he is the light. And just because you can't see what God is doing doesn't mean he's not doing anything. And to bring it back to the verse we read, what did it say? You don't understand what I'm doing now, but someday you will. Life can only be lived going forwards, but it can only be understood looking backwards. And one day you're going to look back at this season of life and thank God that you were in the soil, that it was dark, that you had to grow down, that he made things uncomfortable for you, because every delay, every detour, every disappointment was all a part of God's perfect plan for your life, to shape you, to mold you, and to get you to where he wanted you to go all along. God has such a beautiful, amazing plan for you. And one day you're going to see, all right, can I get an A? Man.
Yeah. God's got a plan. We just have to be humble enough to see it. So thank you guys for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.